Catholic News Roundup is brought to you in part by PewSitter.com, your online Catholic newspaper for the third millennium, CatholicMediaCoalition.org, in line with the Church, online with the world.
And TheAmericanCatholic.com, politics and culture from a Catholic perspective.
Hello and welcome to today's edition of Catholic News Roundup. I'm Matthew McAuliffe. Clearly contraception in the midst of a political climate that fuels a suppression of Catholic values in the marketplace of ideas, one Catholic bishop is certainly not afraid to identify specific problems in today's society. Bishop Alexander Sample of Marquette, Michigan, one of the youngest bishops in the country, is calling out contraception as a, quote, clear factor in the declining number of faithful to fill church pews and keep parishes open, according to LifeSite News. He says, quote, couples are using artificial contraceptives to limit the size of their families, and sterilization is also becoming a common practice. Families think they have the number of children they want and then close off any further openness to life that God might want to bring into their family, end quote. He also notes that while the number of children is diminishing in Catholic families across the country, people are leaving the faith as a result of being poorly catechized in the wake of the Second Vatican Council. Abortion giant investigated. 7 former staff members of Planned Parenthood are stepping forward to give testimony in a House committee's investigation of America's abortion giant. You may remember the chairman of the House Subcommittee on Oversight and Investigations under the Energy and Commerce Committee initiated an investigation of the Planned Parenthood Federation of America, or the PPFA, after Americans United for Life released a very incriminating report on the organization this past summer. USNews.com is reporting that the 7 workers say in their letter to the House committee, quote, we are of one mind that the extent of these problems with the organization is not fully understood by the American people, end quote. The workers include an abortion clinic director, a former abortion doctor, 2 clinic managers, who all say that the national headquarters of PPFA receive $1 million a day in taxpayer funding, which the law says is not supposed to be used for abortion. Religious liberty threatened. Bishops in Brazil seem to be in retreat, caving to government reassurance over a bill that would make what homosexual activists call, quote, homophobia illegal, labeling those who oppose the homosexual agenda as mentally ill. LifeSite News says critics of the legislation have long been afraid that the law would, in essence, criminalize the preaching of Christian dogma in Brazil. However, the newspaper O Globo is reporting Brazilian senators have made an agreement with the bishops to have a sort of conscience clause in the law. The exemption reportedly allows peaceful demonstration of, quote, thinking derived from faith and morality founded in the liberty of conscience, of belief, and religion, end quote. While Catholic bishops in the country seem to be sidelined for the moment with the promise of such an exemption, evangelical senators are still insisting religious liberty is endangered if the law is passed. Stay with us. We'll be back in just a few seconds.
Catholic News Roundup is brought to you in part by NewOxfordReview.org, the voice of Catholic Orthodoxy, in print and on the web, and RenewAmerica.com, expanding the influence of America's grassroots in the cause of freedom.
This was the scene in Providence, Rhode Island, outside of the Cathedral of Saints Peter and Paul, as Catholics in the Ocean State are taking the defense of the faith and the public expression of Christmas to the streets. You may remember the controversy over the lighting of the State House Christmas tree, which Republican Governor Lincoln Chafee insists on calling a, quote, holiday tree. So in response, Bishop Thomas Tobin of the Diocese of Providence arranged this alternate tree lighting to combat what he considers a public attack not only on Christmas, but the Catholic faith itself. Here's a sample of what he had to say at the tree lighting.
And we're here tonight to say that you may not take Christmas away from us, and you may not take Christmas away from our community. Our debate about the Christmas tree is not a trivial thing, even though some have suggested that it is. This is, again, about the place of God in our church, in our society, in our world.
The controversy over the Rhode Island State House tree has ignited a firestorm of protest, including a flash mob choir singing religious Christmas carols and other lawmakers labeling Chaffee as Governor Grinch. To see the entire YouTube video, just click on the link right outside the screen. And finally, as the assault on Christmas continues to be fabricated by some politicians and community organizers around the country, Catholics in the Lone Star State are being treated to a Texas Nativity takedown. The citizens of Henderson County, Texas, are under attack from an atheist group in Wisconsin. An organization called the Freedom from Religion Foundation sent a letter to officials in Henderson County complaining that one local resident who insists on anonymity is offended by the nativity scene. According to theblaze.com, the foundation is insisting that city officials send them a letter detailing the steps they are taking to tear down the nativity scene. The co-founder of the Freedom from Religion Foundation, Ann Laurie Gaylor, says that the manger scene depicting the birth of Christ, quote, sends a message of intimidation and exclusion to non-Christians and non-believers this time of the year. I'm Matthew McAuliffe. Thanks for tuning in today. Be sure and tune in tomorrow for your daily dose of Catholic News Roundup right here on RealCatholicTV.com. And be sure to check out the Vortex today, where Michael talks about a disaster, calling all Catholics to be more faithful than ever before. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to tell all your friends about us. And as always, God bless you.